Hey everybody, it's Karen Anderson here with Aortic Hope. For this week's Week in Review, I have a special guest. I got Diane Bishop with Aortic Health Unlimited. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Like that's your sign on. That's how I'm always going to introduce you when you're here. But before we get into this week, I'm going to ask everybody to please click like, click subscribe, click the little bell, whichever side it is on your screen, so that you're notified every time we go live. We go live for our Week in Review, which is kind of our recap of the information that we've been posting on social media for those of you that aren't on Facebook, or more importantly, for those of you that want a chance to kind of banter with us and talk about your opinions, your thoughts, questions, comments. You can do that here on AHTV, our YouTube channel. But we also go live when we interview different practitioners. We go live with survivor stories. So we do a lot of different things, and you want to be notified. So click the bell. And then please leave a comment, and please share. Share so other people can find out about Aortic Hope just like you did, and they can start receiving some hope and some informative information. So we're going to jump right into it. We're jumping. Ready to jump?
Yeah.
It's hot down there in Tuscaloosa, so I don't know if you're doing a lot of jumping. Beautiful here in Maryland.
Same here.
It's like 60 degrees.
Nice.
It's so nice. I love it.
Nice.
But did you know it's Global Volunteer Month? That's what the month of April is. It is. It's time to recognize our volunteers. And as this quote says, volunteers do not necessarily have the time, and we know this, but they just have the heart. And that's all you need. You just really need to have the heart. We wanted to take a minute, and we wanted to thank everybody that is been really part of the journey. And we actually started back in 2016 as a Facebook page, kind of focused on providing inspirational quotes and stuff like that. And then on April 11th, 2018, we officially became a registered nonprofit with a board of volunteers, a board of directors, and everybody's a volunteer. And everybody that volunteers with Aortic Hope, they've all been touched by aortic disease. And it kind of still holds true today, which is now officially 5 years since we became a nonprofit. So in addition to our 7 board members, we have 4 directors of support services. We have now a director of genetic education, a director of retail operations, 2 culinary and nutrition educators, 2 social media administrators. And in addition, we have over 70 community members who have actually signed up to be Hope Ambassadors. And we do consider Diane our senior Hope Ambassador, even with us since the start. Senior only in knowledge, like fine wine. You get better with time.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah. And many of you help in such a variety of different ways. I mean, volunteers, every way that you can volunteer, it looks different for different people because you have different illnesses, different family structures, you have different careers, different things going on in your lives. And some of you participate by helping us with these types of live events. You help by showing up to the support group meetings and just lending your personal journey, your story, your expertise. You post on our social media pages and in our private forums. You interact with us during our live events. And others have hosted birthday fundraisers through Facebook, in-person fundraisers, or your own events. And we just were able to be very appreciative when we receive a portion of whatever it is that you have done in your fundraising world. Some people have spoken at nursing schools, have spoken at high schools, have been participated at a Rotary Club, and even been on radio shows. So without the people to actually volunteer to assist us, we really wouldn't be where we are today. So we wanted to just really take some time and say thank you and remind everybody that the only form of compensation that any of us actually receive here at Aortic Hope is what we feel from being able to assist all of you. And to everyone who supports us, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're interested in volunteering, there is a link here where you can click the form and sign up to be a Hope Ambassador. So I'm going to kick off the week with that. Just kicked it off. Thank you. Okay. So let's go into some 2 announcements before we get into the week in review. Brand new announcement. We have Chef Rob and Mindy Seltzer. They are our culinary and nutrition educators. There is a vast amount of information on this post, mainly about Rob's background, but we actually had an interview with them. We did a live interview with them on April 18th, and we're going to be kicking off something very exciting with them that we're going to talk about next week once I get everything up on our calendar. But suffice it to say, Rob has an extensive experience as a chef educator, and he's also an aortic dissection survivor. So what I love about some of these volunteers that are jumping into these roles, they're using their background to help educate the rest of the community, and they also are part of the aortic disease community, which is amazing. So when you have a chance, check out this post. All of the information about him and his background are on here, and his darling wife, Mindy, who is a licensed dietitian and nutrition expert. She has an incredible background as well, been doing this for a very long time. And she also is a caregiver of someone who's had a dissection, so someone who's part of the community. So we'd like to welcome them, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of them coming up in the future, including going live with us next Monday. So that's also very exciting. Did you get a chance to see that interview by any chance, Diane, that we did with Chef?
I the one that I joined in was when you guys were cooking, and I joined
Yes.
in on that, and I learned, and I went to a place called Jason's Deli, and I
Mhm.
discovered, I noticed there was ice in the lettuce, and I was thinking, in my mind, it's just like, I bet you this is old lettuce or something that's going on. I crossed my mind, but then I figured with it being on the bar, maybe that's something to make it to do to try to last longer or try to perk it up. But he was right. It's wet and soggy, and I have not been back. And anywhere I go, if I get salad bar, I'll be scooping. Is there ice in the lettuce?
You're scooping. One of the things that I took away from that too was, well, I didn't know that you're supposed to slice out the spine of kale. I didn't know
Mm-mm.
about garlic and certain vinegars, how that can turn into botulism. Okay, that was new.
Did not
And
know
then
that.
new, I know. I didn't know about I just didn't think about pre-wash versus, like, I didn't know about a lot of this, that it actually, first of all, I
Mm-hmm.
can't see the words on half of this stuff anyway, but I did stop and look at my plastic container of strawberries, and I just assumed it was probably pre-washed, but because I couldn't read the words, I just watched it anyway. I mean, I just rinsed it. So I don't know. Hopefully I didn't do anything wrong, but I plan on getting a lot more of my fruits and vegetables from the farmer's market anyway, which I will be
Mm-hmm.
washing it because I feel like maybe I should, although I'll ask him just to be sure. But I thought that was great. Easy
Yeah.
to understand. Yep. So I'm looking forward to what we're doing in the future.
Okay, hold
All
on.
right.
I think
Yes.
you I think you said next Monday, and what you meant to say was next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
No, I was saying next Monday we're doing our weekend review. So we're going
Oh,
to talk
Rob will
about
be
that.
with us next Monday. Oh, yes, yes.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yes, sir. All right. We had another announcement. This is just very interesting one. This is new for us. So we've added Adam Ahmed. He is going to be volunteering with us. He is on board with us now as our director of retail operation. So as we all know, Hope Swag is very important to any of the organizations in the community. It's the easiest way to get someone to ask a question and to say, hey, what is that? What does that mean? What's that logo? What's that all about? And then it kind of gives us a chance to educate people about aortic disease in general. We get to talk about our story or tell them who
Mm-hmm.
the organization is. So Adam's going to make sure that we are up to date with a couple additional shops that we're going to be launching and talking about in the first week of May. He is actually a rising third year medical student, and he is going to specialize at some point in thoracic surgery. So he is taking a really strong liking to us. Again, another amazing resume here that you need to check out. He's very, very passionate about cardiothoracic world, and he really wants to help move the mission of Aortic Hope and awareness and
Mm-hmm.
support patients. And we had an opportunity to meet Adam at the Society of Thoracic Surgeon conference, where we everybody just kind of clicked and meshed. So we're really excited to have somebody with us that comes from that perspective and is starting ground up. He knows about thinking about the aorta and how important it is to talk to the family. He loves the idea of supporting the community. He's also going to be one of our major contributors to our Topic Tuesday. So we're very excited to see how that starts as well next week. So we'd like to welcome Adam to the team also. This is where we need to play a canned, yay, that's what I hear there in the future. Okay,
I
it's
like the
just
way
in
you
my
just
mind.
did that. That works. Keep doing it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Let's move on to our actual weekend review and let's start bantering here, Diane. So it was movement for movement. Movement for movement, guys. There are a lot of, how should I say, information that's starting to come out on Facebook, some new and additional pages. There is one specifically called, I think it's called Aortic Athletes, or I think that might be what it's called. So we're starting to find more and more people who are joining the community who are very passionate about their physical activity level. And I know this can be very controversial when we see people lifting weights, when we see people talking about running triathlons or skiing downhill. We all sit there and say, "Oy, oy, oy, I get it. I get it." This is their lives. It's not anything that we're going to be advocating that you go do. We're always going to share information that we feel is important for you to take back to your own personal physician and have your own conversation because everybody's journey is different. We all know the golden rule: don't hold your breath, don't grunt, don't strain, causes and effect. We've probably all done it for a split second, so nobody is going to have a massive problem with that, but don't do it as a regular thing.
Right.
I don't think I'd be downhill skiing because I would be scared that I could have a traumatic event on my chest because I would fall. But that's me. I just, for me, I don't do that. But I'm not a physician to tell you that you can't do that. So what we can tell you here is what we've been promoting for the last 3 years, which is whatever your doctor has told you that you are cleared to do, try to get out of your own way and just do it. And that's what it
Right.
is. Fear holds us back, right? Don't you think? A lot of times,
Exactly.
even today, if I don't feel well, and I had plans to go take a long walk in the beautiful weather, I'm just not going to do it. Even though I'm
Hmm.
cleared to do it, like I feel it. So I know. But
Hmm.
uh, people find it difficult to just move. They get scared or they're uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. So this is what we want to talk about. In this particular week, we decided to think, can music maybe help some of us move? I know it helps me move. It actually makes me move.
Oh,
I find it,
yes.
right? I find it a little bit easier to just move when I hear a really good song. I'll tell you, Baby Got Back gets me moving all the time. I don't know. It's something about it. I hear it. I come running from any direction in the house. And
Hmm.
it's like a calling bell for my husband. He's like, oh,
Hmm.
she does not hear me. Put this music on. And he knows I'll show up in the room and start rapping. But according to Science of People, in an article that was written by Vanessa Van Edwards, it was titled "The Benefits of Music: How the Science of Music Can Actually Help You." They actually
Yeah.
say that not only can music distract you from bodily awareness, like aches and pains and of working
Hmm.
out, or just that negative feeling we try to produce in our own minds when we have to exercise, but music actually has a healthy positive effect too. So listening to music actually releases, and I didn't know this, releases a chemical, the chemical that's called endorphins. That's what gets released in our brains. And Van Edwards explains that endorphins give us this heightened feeling of excitement. In addition to feeling euphoric, it actually endorphins can quell any kind of anxiety, ease pain, and stabilize the immune system. Had no idea.
Hmm.
Give me some more endorphins. So I'm looking, how can I get that? You can get it from music. High endorphin levels, we have fewer negative effects of stress. So the question is, do you have the groove? And what does the groove mean? So in scientific terms, groove is often described as a musical quality that can help induce movement in a listener. So I don't think the question is, do I have groove? Is the music I'm listening to groovy? I never knew that. Maybe that's how they came up with the term. It's groovy. It's groovy, man. I don't know. But basically, if you've got the groove, if music has that groove, you just can't stop moving. And the next
Hmm.
time you hit the gym, you can channel your inner diva and get grooving. So let's talk about this. But this article, it not only gives you information about how music can actually help you get moving, but It talks about how music can help improve your memory, which we do know that is definitely for a fact. That's been scientifically proven. But it actually, music can help you reduce stress and ease your anxiety and help you improve your sleep. Depends on the music. So you have the groove, Diane.
I had the groove, baby. And I tell you, I love this article because it's so true. And the most important thing to remember, as for everybody, like what you said, with dancing or these other activities, you see some lifting weights, some running marathons and stuff. Everybody's different. You are your best advocate. You know your body's the best. I mean, the
Right.
absolute best. And you know what you can and can't do. And I mean, there's some days when I may be able to do this, and other days you can't. And that's okay. It's so okay. But music for me, if I'm in a cleaning, for example, or we just got one room done at my house, uh, I had music going and it took less stress, you know. I put it on if Jaden's, on the row, I'll crank it up or something. But another thing, as you notice, not just fast music, but like slow country song. It brings so much emotion out. But there's a content also, because have you ever, Karen, sit there and you had a bad day, something's going on, you listen to a sad song, and you look, and then when you look yourself in the mirror, you're crying worse. You got that ugly cry going on, just like,
Right, exactly.
right. But it could do so much. You just find your own beat, what you're feeling, what you want. But it's, for me, it's a definite plus. And even when I go outside to work in my yard, uh, I just love music. If I ain't got nothing to do, I will go in my car, open up my sunroof, and just listen to the music, or go to the river walk where I took you to. I mean, it does so much, and it's, to me, it's much better than a pill.
I agree. And you have to think about it. Surgeons tend to listen to music in the operating room. So doesn't this seem like it makes sense? If the
Right.
music creates the endorphins to help ease their stress and anxiety, maybe it
Mm-hmm.
even helps them focus more, then there is definitely something to this. So if music
Yeah.
can actually get you going, get you to walk, get you to get
Mm-hmm.
through refolding all the laundry in your linen closet or something like that, then why not try it?
Right. Right.
Right? The key is what can we do that can help inspire us and motivate us to get up and move? Not discounting that doing nothing is still doing something on the days we need to. What can we
Mm-hmm.
do? And I do love lots of different music. Sometimes I like just being still and listening to the spa channel. I do love listening to classical music when I'm in like the symphony. I enjoy that. I finally realized why many people just close their eyes. It's just, I like to dissect it and think about all the different pieces, the different elements, the different instruments. And then I think about the timelessness, how we're still listening to this hundreds of years later. It's amazing to me. They're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
listening to half the crap that we listen to hundreds of years from now. But, I think a variety of music is interesting, and it's whatever's going to
Mm-hmm.
get you going, right? Got to get that groove.
Absolutely.
That's why they say I got the music in me, right?
That's it.
That's it. All
You
right.
know, I
Love it.
really hope
Love it.
Baby Got Back is around 100 years from
Yes.
I'll be sitting there, oh, I'm coming on here. I'm getting there. I'll be there soon. Baby got back. Yeah, it makes me. I like anything, but I'd like any kind of dance music. We were just listening.
Mm-hmm.
We were just doing that in the car, my sister and I. Oh, we went live briefly when we were on our way to the American Heart Association Heart Ball the other night, and we were listening to. God, I don't remember the name of the song. Now it's blaring in my head. It's some EDM music, electronic dance music, and we were like waiting for the hook to drop. And when it did, we were like, we had so much fun. It just
Yeah.
makes you move. I moved a lot, and I got tired. We weren't even there yet, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, everybody
now.
wants
Hold on before you go on here. Rob
to
went to the
laugh.
opera on Friday.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he said
He
he
went to the
definitely closed
opera.
his eyes, and Mindy accused him of sleeping.
No, I have an extremely funny opera story to tell you. My well, I didn't go to the opera. I was the symphonies. It's different. So my husband and I got tickets to go to the symphony for free. They were recording this conductor that we have, a female conductor, and they were making an album. So we were, oh, this is very exciting. So we sit there. This is the first time I had ever been. And I'm looking around and I see, a lot of people have their eyes closed. And I happen to glance over and there's this older woman and she is catching flies, mouth wide open. She is definitely asleep, not just listening. So I poke my husband. He sees it. That's it. He throws my hands down. Now he's doing everything he can to not lose it and die laughing. Okay. So I realize, I look, because when he threw my hands, I'm like, what did you do that? And I can see him. He's got tears coming down. He's like, trying to think of anything he can. So now I'm going to lose it. Now I'm like literally going to implode. Like every now and then a squeak is coming out of me because I can't hold it. And you can't because they're recording for an album. So both of us are bright red,
Right.
tears. It was unbelievable. As soon as they said cut and they were done because it was intermission, we were so loud. We thought we were going to get kicked out of there. And then when they went back, we couldn't even, we had to have a space between us. I couldn't even touch him because if we touched each other, we would have been cracking up again. Because we were out of control. We were very inappropriate. The giggles.
Did she ever wake up?
Oh, for an intermission, yeah. When she heard, then her friends are like, "Does she get up? Oh, I guess let me go take intermission." That's a very expensive nap, but it is hypnotic. But that's great. I would love to go to an opera, an actual opera. I think, but I have
Never
to
been.
know it. I know
He
they can
said
be
he
long.
saw The Daughter of the Regiment, a very fun French opera.
Oh, I've never heard of that. I would like
I've
to.
never been.
I feel like it would be like Pretty Woman. I'd be like, mine are broken. These are broken. When she pulls the glasses and she's trying to look through her glasses, I want to go just because I want to dress up fancy. Have a nice fancy night. I know my husband did go with his daughter, and he said that behind some of the seats were, I guess it's translated into English or whatever. You can pick your language. So because I wouldn't understand what the heck they're singing. I would have no idea. But I think it has to be a story that I understand and already know, because it's hard enough to go see a brand new theatrical musical that you don't know but you can kind of understand. But a long opera like that would be really tough. But fun.
I mean, what language is that? The opera?
I guess it
You-
depends.
I
I don't know.
don't
French,
get it.
Italian, could be. Who knows? Clearly, Rob just saw something that was French.
Now you're making me want to look up German opera just so that it sounds like death metal. You know what I mean?
Most
Yes.
certainly could not sit through that. That would be very problematic for me. I needed to at least be a language that I maybe sort of can try to determine. I don't know.
Hold on. Florida man says, you can dress, but no one else does. At least in
Oh,
Florida.
really? Well, they probably do in New York. They probably dress up. I think they still do for an opera at night. I hope. I know nobody dresses up for the theater really anymore. I just went to see a musical. I probably won't say the name, but I really didn't understand anything I was listening to. I didn't understand the show, and people were roaring. It was opening night because I had to change my tickets. And yeah, I looked at my mother. I'm like, I have no idea. Do you have any idea? No idea. No clue. It happens once in a blue moon where I go and I'm like, no idea what I just sat through and won't go sit through it again. Happens. Can't win them all. Anything else, Josh, before I move on to Tuesday?
To answer Diane's question, he's saying multi-language is Italian, French, German, Spanish, Japanese, English, etc.
I was wondering.
Depends on the
can't
author.
sit through 3 hours.
Depends on the author.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Yep. Tell me if you go. Tell me if you go. All right.
Yes.
Topic Tuesday. We pulled up an article which was in preparation before we went live that night with Rob and Mindy. And this was all about how the warmer weather is right around the corner and it's going to be time to fire up those grills, even though we don't really fire them up here in this house, but could be time to fire up the grill. Seasoning is very important when cooking, but there's also one seasoning in particular that members of our community really need to kind of shy away from, and that would be salt. Don't really want a lot of salt. So in Healthline, there was an article that was titled, "What Happens If You Eat Too Much Salt?" And it was written by Alina Petre. Hope I'm saying that right. She shares that salt is actually made up of around 40% sodium and 60% chloride. So it's commonly used to add flavor to foods or to actually help preserve them. And sodium is a mineral which is essential for optimal muscle and nerve function. But together with chloride, it also helps your body maintain proper water and mineral balance. Yet, despite these essential functions, ingesting too much salt can actually have that unpleasant effect both in the short term and long term. So let's take a quick look at what some of those are. So short term effects of too much salt. We have all experienced this at some point in time. Water retention. So if you're holding back a lot of water, one of the first things your doctor is going to ask you is, are you taking in too much salt? Can we make a modification in your diet? They don't just immediately throw medication at you. They want to know a little bit more about your diet. Let's talk about that. Like if I decide to have Mexican food or Chinese food, and I don't specifically say hold back some of that salt, it's innately in a lot of these seasoning blends.
Yes.
I'm going to expect that probably my ring is going to fit a little tight. So I'm really going to want to ingest a lot of water to kind of get a lot of that extra added salt out of my body. It can cause a rise in blood pressure. It doesn't mean that it's going to be this. I can't tell you how much it's going to cause as a rise because everybody's different, which Diane and I often say. But these are the short-term effects. So it's not going to adversely impact you for weeks or days. It's going to possibly impact your blood pressure on the immediate end. And it can cause you to be very thirsty. So if you're feeling very thirsty, this is outside of the 90-degree days, take a look at your diet. See, could this be why? Obviously, have conversations with your physicians because everybody's different and let them make the final determining factor. But salt is usually the first suspect because that's part of your short-term effects. Long-term, it can raise your blood pressure. That's the number one thing long-term that intaking too much salt can do. It can also increase the possibility of stomach cancer risk. It also has potential effects of a link between heart disease and premature death. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the potential effects of too much salt that's in your diet, you should click this article. And then we did remind everybody to watch the live event we had, which you can find on our YouTube channel. Here you'll have a chance to be able to watch that, which was very entertaining and very educational. Diane, let's talk about salt in your diet.
So tough. So tough because me being Hispanic, and Josh probably knows that we like our seasoning. And yes, I do that, but I also drink a lot of water. But I want to tell you a joke that somebody pulled on me without knowing. For some reason, I'm known for pranks, Karen. I just don't understand why. But anyhow, I played the prank on somebody, put the thing of water, and when the door was slightly cracked, when you opened it up, water busted him on the head. So anyhow, went about business, and I had, of course, my water, lemon water, of course, sitting there, and I drank, and then went out through the day. I was feeling funny. It's just like I'm not feeling too good, and my chest is hurting. And check my blood pressure. My blood pressure was high, and there was another couple there and stuff, and one knew that this guy had put salt in my drink, in my water. And I didn't taste it for some reason because I guess because of the lemon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I checked my blood pressure and it was high. And that was a bad joke. Needless to say, I ain't gonna tell you what happened to him. But yes, that's a bad trick. So be careful and know your person's history, like, because he totally forgot all about that. He did put salt in my drink, and I had to pour that out, and I had to chase down a lot of water, and then I got fined. But yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah, and what I'm hoping is, and I know this will happen in our event that will be starting in the next 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to learning from Rob and Mindy alternatives to salt. I know we've talked, and I'm pretty sure chive was one of the things he mentioned, because I'm thinking about all. I can almost remember every ingredient that was discussed in that in the vinaigrette that he created. I think
Hmm.
I remember all of them, so I know it was red wine vinegar. It was red wine vinegar, grapeseed oil, extra virgin olive oil, mustard, parsley, chive, and I think I'm missing something. Right. I said pepper. Nope. I think I got it all. And lemon. So I want to learn what else we can use to substitute for that dreaded salt that will give us some of the flavors. But when you think about all of the different herbs and spices, are you really missing salt? Other than when people cure meat, I
Right.
feel like, do you really know when it's not there? There's got to be other things that we can do to replace it. And we really have to do it and be mindful. I do eat salt. Things are going to have salt in it, but I am very mindful about it because I just don't, especially when the weather starts to get warm, you're already battling an issue with potentially
Yeah.
becoming dehydrated, and then the heat. And if you're taking in too much salt, I'm just going to be a massive big plumpy berry. So yeah, I'll kind of watch that a little bit.
Hmm. Hey, Karen,
Yeah.
how do you feel about sea salt?
Yeah, that's a good question that, if Rob's
Mhm.
with us, maybe he can answer, or I'm going to write that one down to share for
Okay.
our upcoming event, because I don't know, is there a big difference between kosher salt, table salt, sea salt,
Right.
Himalayan sea salt? There's like the pink rocks. I don't know I don't really
Hmm.
know. Is it just pretty? I don't know, but I would like to use it because it is pretty. I don't really know the difference. Maybe it's just something we're supposed to plug into the wall, a Himalayan salt lamp, and just sit and look at it. I know that they want people to go to salt rooms. They're supposed to be really good for you to inhale, and it's good for, I don't know what else it's good for, but it's not good for us to eat.
We have some
This I
comments from Chef Rob.
know. Okay.
Fresh
All
herbs.
right.
Fresh herbs are great. Acids are important to bring out flavors. And then he
Okay.
says, it takes time for your palate to adjust to a low salt lifestyle. After a couple of weeks, you'll start to become salt sensitive.
Okay.
So there's a
Can I
turnaround
become,
time.
I want sugar sensitive so that in a couple of weeks, I'll be ready for my bathing suit. Because
Oh, wow.
Help
I'm
with
just,
that.
So Rob's a bit of an extremist. Salt is
okay.
evil. I don't even have it in my house. I figure I get enough by, he says, less than 1,500 milligrams by eating a few things throughout the day. I abound any processed foods as much as I can. I avoid, I believe, I think he was trying to say. So sea salt to
Wow.
still salt. They're pretty much all the
Okay.
same. They all have NaCl, salt to salt. Avoid. Yeah, Molly says
Boy.
avoid. Oh, I'm sorry. I
Hey,
was reading
Molly.
that as that's Molly. Molly says salt is evil. Dear Lord, hey Molly.
Oh,
My
Lord.
yeah,
bad.
I just ate like a little small tube of uh, pistachios that were roasted and salted. But yeah, I think
So
most of that
good
salt
though.
was on the shell. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? It
So
is the way it
makes
So
is.
good.
I had a comment to Diane because again, we're of the Latino nature here. I found that the family members in my household that smoked, because I'm old enough that smoking was still cool back in the day, they
Uh-huh.
heavily relied on salt. And it wouldn't be
Okay.
until I was, way older that I realized that when you're a smoker, you can't really, you lose your sense of smell apparently. And when
Yeah,
that goes,
You're
they
right.
do a lot of work to make up for it with salt and spices.
that's true.
You
Yeah.
know what, Josh? Ricky is bad about that. I season mine. I mean, I'm a seasoner on anything, but I got two things for you. Rick was slash a smoker, but since that happened, he quit, and then he's back to smoking them darn black and mild. He'll smoke at least two, three the black and mild cigars, but I remember him sitting there, and I'll have like French fries. I'll season it with salt or whatever. Hand me the salt. I was like, baby, it's got the salt. I seasoned it. I can't taste it. So you're right. That does make sense. Number two, my question is to anybody. These the other seasoning that we use, such as, let's say, lard seasoning or what have you. Could it be a possibility that that already has salt in it? These other seasoning that we have combined in my
Oh,
pantry?
you mean like a McCormick's, like a
Yeah,
Cajun
yeah,
seasoning? Yes, yes. You have to read. You
exactly.
have to read the list. You have to read. More than
Exactly.
likely, I'm thinking there's salt in it, and I don't know how in the world there isn't salt in Old Bay, which is used heavily in Maryland. So you
Hmm.
got to read that list to see. I'm sure
Yeah.
Rob's going to say yes.
Well, Rob
Okay.
says white death or green death or pink death, etc. when he's talking about
It's,
salt.
It's all bad.
And he does
Bad,
he does
bad.
agree with me. Yes, tobacco destroys taste.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
See, it does.
Hmm.
All right, he'll get back to us on that multi-seasoning because I'm sure you just have to read the back. I know there is because I look because I can't do garlic. So, and garlic salt is still salt. It's been, I'm sure it's been flavored or infused. So I read and I scour
Yeah.
to see where garlic is on that list. So,
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Molly's on a tirade.
Oh boy.
She says lemon, garlic powder, red pepper flakes. No salt ever. Because there's an exclamation point in there. We get enough
Oh,
as it is in other foods.
She's right.
yeah.
We
She's
love
right though.
Molly.
Yes, she
She is
is.
right. She is
Yeah.
right. All right.
Oh,
You preach, Molly.
Chef Rob says Old Bay is probably 50% salt.
Yeah, I
Old
would be
Bay.
sure. Probably Cajun seasoning from McCormick's too. Yeah, 50%.
Yep.
And he's
Dale's
saying yes to pre-made seasoning blends all have salt.
Yeah.
Dale's steak sauce tastes salty to me. Whenever I marinate something, uh, for me, when I first started to use it, my stuff came tasted salty. So I got to mixing it some with water and not leaving it sit so long. But to me, I could be wrong, but that Dale's is called Dale's
Hmm.
marinade or whatever. To Dale is salty tasty to me.
It's because there's probably salt in it. That's probably why.
Right? Rob
Here.
says even lemon pepper has lots of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
That's
face
a
I
good
made,
one.
Diane.
Thank you. I'm
You
like,
probably,
yeah.
that would be interesting to learn how we can make our own, what would be our own marinade? What's our own
Right.
seasoning, spices? Like instead of us buying this stuff, in the
Hmm.
store, lemon, pepper, whatever, show us how. What's the amounts I need to make? And I'll just throw it in a container. And now I have my own set of spices that are already mixed together. Because I
I
do
am.
buy spice mixes that are more from like those fresh olive oil, balsamic vinegar shops and stuff. And I'll buy them, but I do tend to look to see if there's salt or garlic in there. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm attempting to make my own herb garden. I got garden out there with tomato, different types of peppers and beans and stuff like that. But I do want my own herb garden. I had one the last past year, but I had peppermint. But I done the
Mm.
peppermint because I like to soak it and let it smell up the house and stuff. But I used it was the basil,
Hmm.
the what is it? Come on, Diane. Think
Time.
I got a brain fart. Time,
Time.
yeah. Oregano. Ooh,
Oregano.
Puerto Rican likes oregano, but uh, what's ironic, I have a lemon tree that grew from a seed, and that joker as tall as Ricky is.
Uh-huh.
And Mercedes got into a leaf that fell in it, and I chased her to get the leaf from her. And I was wondering what she had, and it was a leaf that she
Hmm.
was chewing on. And the leaf, I smelt of it, and it smelled like lemon. I
Okay.
haven't gotten the lemon off the darn thing, but I am attempting. I might have to talk to Chef Rob or somebody
Okay.
because that's my mission, and I will check back with y'all on a good herbal garden.
Please. Love to learn about
Gotcha.
that too. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any other comments on our Tuesday before I move on?
Okay, so he
Okay.
says, Chef Rob says, Old Bay ingredients from their website: celery salt, celery seed, spices, including red pepper and black pepper. So,
Mm.
yeah.
First two ingredients,
And
salt
then
and salt.
as you were saying things like teach us how to make these things, he's like you're talking about my curriculum plan, seasonings and marinades.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
And
Love it.
Molly's back in. I'm passionate about no salt. Always
Okay.
have. American go
Got it.
overboard without even
Got it.
thinking. Anywho, there are
No.
so many ways to flavor food. Karen, Google no salt spice combinations that you can make yourself.
Oh, that's energy.
And get back
That's
with
hurt.
us. That's your job, okay? Next
And
week, you
then he
tell us
said,
how it goes,
and
Karen.
then she says, or wait for Chef Rob.
I think I'll take you up on that one. I got a lot on my plate. I think I'll wait. I like to be surprised. I'll take notes. I'll have a pen. It'll be good.
Yes.
All right.
Nice.
No salt. We've made it. No salt Sunday. No salt every day. All right. We're moving on. We're moving on.
Yes.
I see a stack of rocks and I already feel like it's trained me. It's taught me that those stacks can be in the garden, they can be in the forest, they can be at the beach. I'm already relaxed. Therapeutic Thursday. And we wanted to share with you some relaxation and grounding techniques that were taught to us and given to us by Katie Moran. She's a licensed massage therapist. We've done a couple lives with her before in the past, but the largest concept that we all really just need to integrate in our lives is that we can learn to live relaxed. It's not we just live that way. We don't choose a moment like I'm going to be relaxed because I go to the spa. We should be able to live, just shake it off, a more relaxed life. And living a relaxed lifestyle and really enables us to kind of create a reality every day that we do not ever need to escape from. If we just live more relaxed, we want to be in that life. And constant input from the universe, from society, from our own self choices, our own ability to care for ourselves, it kind of contributes all to our wellness or our unwellness. So, here's some options for living a more relaxed journey through the senses, a way to just be living relaxed. So, here we go. Let's talk about some of this. Now, what I love that Katie did here, she incorporated the senses. So, she's going to cover all 5 things in this article, which is posted in our resources section. So, we know that scent, we just talked about it a little bit when it comes to our cooking. We know that scent makes an impact in us when it comes to our stress, our anxiety level, our emotions, our memories. Certain, like you smell apple and cinnamon, you might think of like Thanksgiving. No, you'll think that if you smell pumpkin and other types of spices, but you may. You're just going to think of certain things in your life. Cookies make you think of certain things. So, some sedative aromatherapy that you can use that'll help you have much more of a calming or relaxed effect would be chamomile, clary sage, frankincense, jasmine, lavender, mandarin. There's a whole bunch of them that are listed here. It's been proven. These scents have been around for a very, very, very long time. It's a known fact that when you have a stuffy nose, you smell eucalyptus or menthol, right?
Yep.
Decongest you. So it's once you think of that, you know that these other ones are probably going to work on you as well. There's also a way of doing, and I am not going to attempt to say that word, even though I think it says pranayama, conscious breathing, alternate nostril breathing. I know it's a way of breathing in one nostril, holding it, breathing out the other nostril, breathing in, holding it, and then switching and breathing out. That is a way that as you're thinking it, you're already going to become relaxed, unless your nose is slightly stuffed like mine, because the change in temperature, and then you're just going to feel like you're stuffed. Separate from that, this alternate breathing is supposed to be very relaxing. There's also cooling breath or boat tongue, and you can look that up as well. And that is a way to feel the breath on the tongue, which we've talked about in our own mindfulness courses that we've had here with Aortic Hope, is focusing on when you breathe, where do you feel that breath that's on your tongue? And so that's all falls underneath of the scent category. So that's scent. Anything you want to comment when it comes to scent before we move on?
Never.
I've lost you, so I'm not
Yeah, I don't
sure
see
if
her yet.
okay. Could just Okay, so it's not me. So let's talk. I'm just going to talk then until Diane jumps back on. But I know for me, as soon as I smell um, eucalyptus, spearmint, peppermint, those types of scents, all lavender equal spa for me. So I know that when I smell those, I'm sorry, we lost you for a second, Diane. I was saying certain
Yes.
scents that I smell that I immediately think of a spa and I'm immediately transported to
Hmm.
relaxation. What were you about to say about smell?
Uh, it's just like you were talking about. I used eucalyptus. It's good, like especially if you take a shower. If you have the leaves or the oil sitting in there in a bowl, that's so great, and it gives you like a burst of energy. For me, it does. Lavender is my go-to. It's my favorite fragrance of all time. Lavender helps me calm down, which I need a gallon of that. But I
Don't we
love
all?
lavender vanilla. Oh, geez, so good. But uh, yeah, there's certain things that you could do. You could get even the lavender or them scents fragrances in the roll-on things, and you could put it wherever. They said if you rub some eucalyptus oil on your temple or on your here on the nose and stuff, that help open up the pores. But there's some fragrance that I don't like. But that's my
Yeah.
favorite to go to is the eucalyptus and lavender. Love me some lavender, lilac-ish fragrance.
Lilac. Yeah, and this
Yes,
comes down
girl.
to what she shares here for relaxation. It's all part of grounding. And if you can ground
Hmm.
with one of each of the five senses, you're going to be amazed at how quickly you diffuse your own personal environment that might be creating stress or anxiety. So pick a scent. I always have a scent in the car that I know that if I, for whatever reason, become triggered, like if I start to have a
Right.
PTSD moment, or I just stressed or there's driver drove like crazy, I will turn the vent on higher and then I get that smell. That's immediately. And
Yes.
now I've been distracted. Okay. So if
Hmm.
smells aren't your thing, because there's plenty of people that aren't into smells. I mean, all of these aromatherapy companies, doTERRA, there's so many of them. I've been really coming, living
Hmm.
good. I can't remember. Living Wellness. There's another company. I can't remember the name. You just need to be careful and the products and the percentage of essential oil and realize that having diffusers sometimes around animals is very toxic to them.
Right.
So look into that as well because these oils as they go up in the air they have to drop someplace. So you want to make
Hmm.
sure that you have these in areas that won't impact your pets. But separate from that, you'll do that research. If you're not a scent person, maybe you're a sight person. Maybe visual is what you need. So we would all ideally like to have a non-cluttered home. Steve, this is why I have a background behind me because if you saw what my office was always looking like, to me, it's controlled chaos. So I
Yeah.
have little areas with piles, but I know that when
Hmm.
I'm totally pile free is when I'm stressed because then I can't remember where I put anything. That's just me. Certain things have their place, but other things, if I don't want to lose them, I have to be able to see them. That's me.
Hmm.
But in the site category, maybe it's nature. What does nature mean to you? I know if I see anything that has the beach or palm trees, I am calm. I love the
Hmm.
way forests look like in the fall, the changing of the leaves. I have absolutely no desire to sit in a forest because I don't like bugs. Okay, so everybody has their own thing that makes them happy, but if I see a picture of flowers or I see a picture of the beach, I am calmer. If candles do it for you, whether it's electric, battery operated, or actual fire, then maybe you should light a candle. But for me, while I'm driving, I don't let I have this because I put something you gave me. I put that amethyst on my car.
Yeah.
the symbol from Prince, and it hangs, and it brings
Uh-huh.
me joy. I like it, and I look at my
Yes.
amethyst that my friend gave me, and it brings me joy. So again, it's with the smell. Everything is right there in my field of vision. So what makes you feel calmer for you visually?
Me visually, it's going outside, looking at my flowers. And another thing is just kind of diagonal is animals, whether it be hummingbirds, butterflies, but right down the road there's 2 horses and 2 donkeys. They're
Yes.
not mine, but they think they are. And all I have to do, Karen, I step out and I take probably maybe 15 steps down the road and I'll call them. They come running to me. And
Sweet.
the owners sitting there, and I take them apples, and I give them some hay and lettuce, cabbage. I feed them. And
Hmm.
one day the owner stopped me, and I thought, oh hell, I'm in trouble. But anyhow, he thanked me for taking time with his animals. And I said to no, thank you. I says, because I've asked him before for permission, but I thought he didn't think that I'll get so attached and go see them at least 3 times a week. And if not 5 or 6 times a week, I'll go feed them and give them treats. But they see my car, they'll walk, follow my car. And, or, I mean, they're precious. And it brings me so much joy. And they literally love on me. I'll have like my shoulder right here, and one of the horses be nudging me, I mean, it's the joy in the nature. And I'm
Yeah.
a outdoorsy person. I get a lot of pleasure if I'm not feeling good. It's pretty outside. I'll get in my car, open my sunroof, and put on music or what have you, and go get me a smoothie or something.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that, a lot of people don't really understand that you've got to let a little bit light, however way that you get light in your life, whether it be through music, maybe the light outside, whatever makes you happy, do something, find something that brings you joy.
Hmm.
And my garden, I know one thing, it does make me depressed sometimes. I'm going to be totally honest with you, Karen, because I've done all the work outside. And anyhow, are you still there? Did I lose
Uh-huh.
you?
Yeah. Well, no,
Okay.
we're here.
All right. Well, I mean, I could do my garden so easily, but now I have to stop so many times to do things, and I get a little bit frustrated. But when something starts to bloom or something coming up, I'm happy. And
Hmm.
it don't take much to make me happy as far as it comes. If I'm outside, see a squirrel, I do have squirrel feeders. I have bird feeders, hummingbird feeders. I have some corn out for the deer, which is, on my property. We have acreage, and I just love seeing them.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's would be all part of sight. So all of that helps de-stress you, which is part of the
Yeah,
grounding techniques. And then you brought
right.
up smoothie. So that kind of takes us to the next one, which is taste.
Yeah.
So taste is important, and that's a very individualized thing on what you can taste that might help diffuse or calm you or relax you. So I always have gum in the car. And the reason I started this stuff in the car is because that's where I would be triggered the most right after I had my dissection when I was recovering. So if there was an ambulance came by or a helicopter above, I needed to be in this environment with things that could ground me. So that's why I have gum. And gum
Hmm.
covers sound, it covers taste, it covers sight, it covers smell, it covers so much just in one little piece of gum. But I then still have the visual and I have the smells in the car as well. So when you're going to eat, try to create a sense of ambiance or a sense of calm when you're going to eat. Make your space be sacred, be relaxing. A lot of people tend to take that plate and just go right in front of the TV. Well, all you're doing is training yourself that you could have horrible news on when you're eating. You want your eating to be a nice, wonderful, relaxed moment. I'm not saying you can't sit in front of the TV, but you are training your brain. Like if you're going to watch TikTok videos every night before you go to sleep, you're just generating more energy. So you have to create the environment you want to be in. So train yourself that. I mean, this is why as families we sit together and have dinner. This is our time to be together. Those families
Hmm.
that did that, some families are very effective in sitting in another room. But if you want to use food and taste as a way to diffuse, then create that environment. Get into a routine when it comes to your eating, when you're going to eat, how much you're going to eat, how fast or slow you want to to eat and enjoy that experience of chewing, of swallowing, of eating. You want your digestive system to be more relaxed. And you want to eat a balanced diet. I mean, here they talk about anti inflammatory foods. It's what's going to work best for you and your situation. We could never tell people incorporate a ton of roughage and vegetables because we know there are people with IBD, Crohn's or colitis that are part of the community and they just cannot eat those types of foods. So, whatever's going to work best for you, just try to eat that in a relaxed environment and drink water. That can never hurt you. Although it is interesting, you can have blood pressure fluctuations if you're too hydrated. That's an interesting thing too.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yes.
And that would be those moments
Interesting.
where you're holding on too much water and diuretics then help you release some of that fluid. So there's a balancing act there. But taste is one. Now we're on number 3. That is another important element of reducing stress. Okay. You talked about your smoothies. You like your smoothies.
I like my smoothies.
I like your smoothies. All right. Touch. Touch is another important one. That's a massive one for me. So self-massage. There's a lot of times when I'm stressed, people, now everybody will know this about me. I tend to rub over an eyebrow. This is what I do. I don't do tapping, but this is my self-soothe. It distracts me from losing my mind. And it allows me just to focus on the touch, focus on how many times I'm doing it, and it automatically calms me down. I don't know when I adapted that, but I did. And any type of self massage. Sometimes I will rub my hands. It's not a nervous thing. I like the way it feels. So I like to rub my joints. Everybody's going to have their own element and what that means. I'm a huge, huge believer and supporter of massage. I love getting massages and facials. I love facials because I can hear the sounds. I can smell what they're putting on my face. I just love the way that it feels. Restorative yoga is another one that Katie mentioned here. Practice moving into being more comfortable. And Reiki. She's a big believer in Reiki and just as a self tool and using energy. I mean, we're all made of energy. So you can actually go for Reiki treatments.
What is that? Reiki? Is that what you're saying? Reiki?
Reiki, Reiki. It's an energy. It's a form of therapy, not therapy like we're thinking mental health therapy. It's energy. So we're all made of energy, and it's different for every people and how much benefit you get out of it. But there are Reiki specialists that do go to become certified, that they don't touch you, just hover their hand right over you and use their energy to help heal and de-stress you through their energy. It's funny because my father, we would play these games when I was a child. I would close my eyes and he would move his finger over the bridge of my nose but not touch me and ask me to tell him when I felt it. And I can feel it. I can feel it's different for different people, but I can feel the energy without being necessarily directly touched. Does that make sense?
Right.
But you should look it up. You should try it. Everybody, they either like it or they don't. It's one of those things. You're either into it or you're not. Yeah, but that's touch. So where are you? And because I love, we call it toe time. So much information on this YouTube channel. It's ridiculous. But toe time is a big thing in my house for me. My husband might say, go pick up the dry cleaning. I'm like, well, I want toe time. I like to have my feet rubbed. It's soothing. I like to pet my dog. I like the way the fur feels in my hands. It's soothing. So what do you find that works for you from a touch perspective?
For me, I always do this. Except I do it with both hands. Oh my gosh. Not just that, but it's good for the scalp and for your hair. Did you know that? Get the circulation going. Yeah. I have a habit doing that. I have a habit keeping low.
Oh no. She has a habit. We don't know what the other habit is. Well, we're going to have to be on the edge of our seats.
I wonder if
with
she's
what
getting a phone call when that happens.
It could be. But I have seen Diane do this, and I do think it feels good. So she'll have to share with us some more of her touch and what that works. But I know touch is big, and touch is big for anybody. And so if you're having, we lost you there. I got your hair, but I missed everything out. What was that about? Say it again.
Okay. Well, with the hair, I like to do that, rub that with the hand lotion.
Hmm.
Another thing that I like to do, you're talking about toe touch. Um, I like my feet rubbed,
Hmm.
but believe it or not, there are pressure points on your feet that relieves another part of your body. Like there's something like if you have a kidney infection or something, if they put their thumb at the right place, that really does work. The only thing I will not do exchange toe touch with my husband because his toes is he works outside, Karen, okay? And that's something he needs a professional for that.
Well, what you're saying is true, and it's called reflexology. So there are meridians
Yes.
and points in your hands and your feet. And I remember one time I went to somebody, gave them nothing about my history, went in for foot. And if you're getting real reflexology, it's not supposed to feel good. It's actually supposed to be kind of uncomfortable. But when I had it done, the person looked at me and said, "Do you have GI issues? Gastrointestinal issues?" I said, "Yes." Why? They're like, "Because I feel it on this point in your foot." And I was in a
Right.
Crohn's flare at that time. And they say don't eat 30 minutes before or after you have foot reflexology because it will work up your intestines. It can.
Mm,
So it is very interesting. So I'm a big kind of
it
believer in all
is.
of that. You know, and
Me
again,
too.
when I'm in the hospital or I'm super stressed about something with my health, I go back to this. It's just a way to just distract again. That's your fourth sense that we've talked about. So again, all of these things to relax you are all part of grounding techniques. All right, sound. We just finished talking about music, but any kind of sound. It doesn't even have to be just music. It could be the sound of your voice giving yourself positive self affirmation. You can put it on tape. You can play it back to yourself every day. Like, you know, look in the mirror and hear your own voice telling you, "You've got this. You can do this today. You're amazing. You're a survivor. Doing nothing is doing something. Don't be hard on yourself." Whatever the case may be, sometimes that's the sound that you need to hear is yourself telling you, "I am enough. Today
Hmm.
is a good day." So, and nature sounds, ocean sounds, spa music. For some, they do want really heavy metal music. I don't know why. It would make me more energized than calm, but vibrational sound therapy. And if you've never been to a sound bath, there is a video in our series here on our channel where she did give us an example, a sampling of sound baths. So sound baths are those big, gigantic crystal bowls that I'm sure you've heard people hit, and then they ring on the outside of the bowl with this big, huge thing. There's vibration that's put out from these bowls. I mean, just like if you dropped water and you'd see the rippling effect. And it's the sound, and it just really is very relaxing. I'm sure there are people that probably don't love it. I love it. I go to sound baths sometimes and you just kind of get comfortable on your own yoga mat and it's just you just listen to it and it's like you're fully clothed but you just like you feel enveloped by these sounds and it's very relaxing. Almost like wind chimes but it's different from this bowl.
Hmm.
So any particular sounds that really work for you?
It's funny you say wind chimes. Molly was like, wind chimes.
That's
Great minds
it.
think alike.
Exactly.
They
Wind
were a
chimes.
hit on the Thursday meeting.
Oh, wind chimes.
Yeah, somebody had beautiful wind chimes on their porch.
Yeah, I love them. My husband can't stand them. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like the randomness of when they're going to just go off. And I think it's like it's like wind whispering. I love it.
Hmm. I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, relaxation techniques, aka grounding techniques. Trust me, if you go to see a therapist to help you in the beginning stages with any potential PTSD or medically related trauma, you're going to find that grounding techniques and utilizing your senses is one of the most common, easiest things that you can start to try to do for yourself. And if you learn that, you'll be able to do that and implement that anytime, anywhere. And that's our Therapeutic Thursday. That's all I got on that one. It's a lot. Hey, but that leaves us to Feel Good Friday. Feel Good Friday, we get to add another community member as an author to our list in our book resources that's on this page. And that is a book written by, I'm trying to see it all again. This is written by Robert Fisher, goes by Bob Fisher. It's called Life After Death, A True Story of Surviving an Aortic Aneurysm and Dissection. And so he wrote this book fairly recently, actually. But imagine rising on a normal day, unaware that you have this rare, deadly underlying medical condition. Without warning, an excruciating pain crosses your chest. You barely make it from your living room to the operating room, but your body somehow manages to hang on, narrowly surviving what most do not. But surviving the initial incident is only the beginning as complications arise. This book is the true story about Robert, who, when he was age 55, experienced one of the most traumatic events in his life, and that was an aortic aneurysm and a dissection. With less than a 5% chance of survival, Robert was one of the lucky ones. And you might remember hearing about aortic dissections because if you're in our generation, then you know John Ritter. And in 2003, he died at the age of 54 from a misdiagnosed aortic dissection. And trying to make sense of his near death incident, Robert spent many, many hours talking through what really happened with him with his wife, Carol. And those talks really turned into him developing a sense of journaling, all about what he had to cope with. And that journaling evolved into writing this book. And as Robert wishes to bring awareness about aortic dissection, which we know can be a deadly condition. And for those of you that are dealing with the after effects of an aortic dissection and you're just kind of interested in hearing what somebody else's life is like, what his experiences were, we offering you to click on this link and check out his book, and you'll find ways that you can order the book. So that is the new book from a community member, Bob Fisher, and that was our Feel Good Friday. I have not had a chance to read through the entire book yet. I'm working my way through it. So we will be having Bob on live to discuss his book and giving everyone an opportunity to ask questions about that in the month of June. Okay. That leads us to the Survivor Series, Christina Nolan. You know, Christina asked a question of me one day. She said, what are the chances, and I'm going to get the question right down here. What are the chances, what are the odds that a wife and a husband both have open heart surgery within 11 months of each other? That was the initial email I got from her. She was just looking like, is this so rare? So like such a coincidence? That was my reaction when she told me that. I'm like, I'm sorry, did you both have the same thing? They didn't, but they both had open heart surgery in less than a year from each other. And this story goes back to 2019. So I highly recommend that you read this survivor story. It's pretty concise, but she does talk a lot about what it was like dealing with her husband's issue. And then turn around 11 months later, she has an issue. And there were two different issues. But you want to talk about a story of survival. I mean, she's very lucky that her diagnosis went as smoothly as it did. And now they're on this journey of their lives forever changed and flip-flopping between role of survivor and caregiver. But it's some pretty powerful stuff. I highly suggest you check out this story. Survivor Series Saturday. If you're interested in being featured as one of our survivors, there is a link that is on our page where you can click on that and decide, do you want to share your story in written format as we have here? Do you want to be recorded and take the biggest leap of all and decide that maybe you want to go live like we are now, and then you have a chance to take some questions from the community? Either way, you have no idea how impactful sharing your story really is with others. Yeah, because you're validating somebody else's experience. You're creating questions in them that they can then take to their doctors. So it's a win-win for everybody, I think.
It is.
It is, most certainly.
Yep.
Share with you Sunday. Research. It's a lot of hubbub going on right now. We were talking about exercise, right? Dr. Prakash out of UT Houston is working on an exercise study. He's been doing this now for, I think, about 2 years. And there's 3 different locations. You can go and participate at the University of Texas at Houston. You can go to Washington University in St. Louis. And there was a mistake here. I believe the other one was in Michigan. So when you check out his research studies, all of the information is in here, but we did just recently share another story from, I think it was from, I want to say Jack Crow. He is a community member who actually did this study. So he shared everything. And basically what happened is you are committed to go back to the location at least twice physically, but most of your exercising, it's all going to happen at home. They're asked to commit to a 3-day exercise plan that they work out with you. And these are strictly for people who have had an aortic dissection. So at least 3 months ago, not any sooner than 3 months, but it doesn't matter if you had to have aortic surgery or you had a dissection and you haven't had surgery, that's fine. Just the dissection is the number one qualifier in here. And that you have access to a bike or a treadmill, whether it's your own or you can go to a gym. So it runs for 12 months and you have to attend 2 in-person sessions at the location that you chose and 1 exercise training session. You also will attend 3 virtual classes too. And you're basically going to have to wear a 24-hour blood pressure monitor at the beginning and at the end of your study. This monitor is going to study your blood pressure, your heart rate, your grip. And you have to complete online questionnaires. And they want you to exercise shooting for 150 minutes a week. So that's what they're hoping to have you do. And again, the goal is to see the effects of exercise on people who have had an aortic dissection. And I would believe that the future goal is, can we come up with something that we all can kind of fit within this model of, if you've had this, this is your targeted blood pressure, this is your targeted heart rate, this is your targeted recovery, because we are all over the place. And there is nothing that is one-stop shop. I don't think there's ever, in my opinion, I don't think there'll ever be one set of rules that fit everybody. I just don't, because we're all so different, right?
Right.
But it would be good to have this study. I'm really curious to know the outcome of this. And I ask all the members out here, whoever participates in this, please get back to us here at info@aortichope.org. I'd like to feature your story. I'd like to know more about your experience in this research program. I fully support it and believe in it. I really just can't wait to get the outcome. I really hope that we can have Dr. Prakash on live with us at some point. And let's talk about the goals and the end result and what we're hoping to produce for everybody. Because I'd like to feel more confident myself in some of my activity level, and I know new people joining the community need that sensation as well. What are your thoughts on this?
I think I'm with you, but the reason I'm thinking it's going to be kind of hard, and they got to be careful because everybody's kind of different, you know. They have the rules and guidelines. However, I must say, any kind of movement is great. And I tell you what's an easy way. For me, it's hard to work out. I mean, it's not hard for me to go walking, but I find it's more easier for me to do something and stick to my workout if I had someone to do with me, so why couldn't we, if something like that was done, we could have something, on special date or time to where we can do workout together and maybe do yoga together. I mean, that's something for you to check into, Karen, and get set up.
I got it. I already got it in my head.
Nice. You got it in your head?
Got it in my head. Now I just got to implement it. But the weather's breaking. So when the weather breaks, It makes it a lot easier. And you know what? It's not very difficult for us to pull together a group of people who want to kind of be on, we can do a Teams environment on our phone, and we're going to call it walk and talk. There you go. And we're walking and we're talking and we're walking and we're talking. And you can go to your trail, you can go to a track, wherever you're going to have good service. Because I am just like you. If, I'll get to the mall with all the intention. Our mall is barely open. I mean, our mall, if there's like 10 stores, it's just, malls are not as great as they used to be. I'll start walking around. You know what happens? Well, then there's the pretzel place. And there's Macy's shoes. Well, I'm sure I need a shoe. I get very distracted. So I do like going outside. And I do like, the track to me is just walking in circles. But if I had somebody else like you on the other end, then I would walk.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to make it happen. Walk and talk.
That'd be fun.
So Molly says she signed up for this in Houston and she'll be going within the month.
Molly.
Right? She's such a rock star.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. I can't
Mm-hmm.
wait to hear all about it.
Yeah.
So Jack did his in writing. He wrote a whole thing that went up on Facebook. I'd love to have the same thing. I want to get it up on our website. I want to share it everywhere like we shared his. I want more people to hear about this because it is so great for those that are clear to be able to do it. You know?
Right.
Yeah. She says, I work out on the regular anyway and walk 2 to 5 miles throughout the week. I
Mhm.
feel I need that movement. It wears me out, but I do what I can. And then
That's
she
great.
says, I love, love, love the walk and talk idea. 8, 9, or
Yes.
10 exclamation points.
Awesome. I love it too. We're considering it a
Yep.
thing. All right. I will create it. We will come up with a date and a time. We will launch it. Great. I love having things to launch in the month of May. And that's what we're going to do. And everybody can join.
Nice.
So excited. Aortic
Nice.
Hope Walk and Talk. Love it. See,
Yeah.
look at this. This is great. And
Boom.
Molly, we want to know everything about how this goes. I'm so excited for you. And yeah, this is super. Oh,
Uh-huh.
we'll sit back and we'll watch and we'll see everybody else do it, Diane.
I'll sit on my
Wait.
smoothie.
You're eating your smoothie and no salt. You know what happens to me is I get into this big thing. I'll be with my PT therapist and we'll start doing all this and I'm feeling really good and I'm making all these strides. And then my
Uh-huh.
body's like, no, I'm going to take you down a few rungs and I'm going to cause some pain or cause something weird to go wonky with your blood pressure. And then I can't do it again. It's very frustrating. But again, everybody has their own journey. I mean, I want nothing more than get back to ballroom dancing, but it's like you need to have stamina to make it through that 2.5 minute song and spin and dip.
Right.
And I'm not have no stamina for that right now, but I will. I will one day. It'll happen.
Oh,
It'll happen. All right. That's it. We did it. We made it through.
yes.
That's our week. We are in the last week of April. Can you believe this?
Where has time gone, right? It's crazy.
Amazing. So crazy. It's coming up really
Yes.
fast. Big stuff. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that is it. So I thank you for joining us. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, Diane. No salt. The devil's crystal. And please don't forget to click like. Please click the bell so that you're notified when we go live.
Yes.
Please subscribe. Please share this link. Any of this information in here really is kind of applicable to many, many different diseases or just
Right.
human beings in general. Shouldn't probably be having salt. Share the link, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts. Join us next Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a really great week.
And roll tide.
Roll Tide. Thanks so much for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.